Silence before the strike. I walk through shadows, names carved in stone, echoes of brothers who lie under stone, a whisper of duty, a breath held in pain, their ghost in the silence, calling my name. I am the eye that sees through lies, the iron hand beneath the sky, the heart that waits, the will that bends, but never breaks and never ends. They took my ninja brethren, leaving nothing but my wrath, the blood and bone of the ninja's path. From Ellie's fire to Arashikagi's flame, I was born with silence carved in my name. Red blades in mourning, blue steel tears, a life of service, a soul with no fear. Kamakura, nunchuck, quick kick, gone. Two were my brothers, one my bond. They stood with me, now I stand for them. No signal out, no help to send. Just a blade, a vow, and a mission.
Yo, Joe, listen up, I got a story to tell about a guy named Logan. Oh, he's so swell. He's the G.I. Joe gamer. Cool and witty, talking about those characters, heroes, and villains. At midnight we shout, Yo, Joe, or Cobra. Talking about the Joe team and a Cobra tide. Joe's got snake eyes, the silent ninja in black. Quick with his swords, he'll give you a heart attack. Then there's Duke, the leader, so bold, gung-ho, always ready to fight and make those cameos. And we can't forget about Scarlet, the ultimate girl power, a fierce warrior, she'll make her enemies cower. Cobra's got Destro to supply the weapons, Cobra commander plots and schemes, see ruling the world in his dreams. Zartan is never what he seems, and Baron is rocks that black leather outfit, shoot you quick and slip out the back of the pit. Yo, Joe, Cobra, Logan's here to give his G.I. Joe takes. Oh yeah, Yo, Joe, Cobra, talking about the characters, it's a G.I. Joe thing.
Mature content warning. On Logan's Joe Takes. Strategic commentary may include strong language, heated opinions, classified references. Time to call in the Joes. Opposing forces may attempt audio interference. Logan's Joe Takes. Mission begins now.
Greetings, I am Logan the G.I. Joe Gamer. Welcome to Logan's Joe Takes. This is Joe Takes 61, and this is going to be Jinx from the Hilt. Hope you guys like ninjas, because that's kind of the theme tonight. She is the original G.I. Joe ninja. I know Snake Eyes was a ninja before she was. However, Snake Eyes was never listed as a ninja until much later in the line. He was always the G.I. Joe Commando, which, as far as I know, he's the only G.I. Joe Commando. There are other ones in other, like international lines and stuff that were listed as commandos. And then there was one other figure that had the title Commando, and that was Shipwreck had a naval commando for the Rise of Cobra movie figure that he had, which was pretty cool. All right, so we're talking Jinx tonight. Well, we start like we always do with the original figure. This is the 1987 Jinx. She originally had that dragon symbol on her chest right here, but my paint has worn off considerably. She used to have red fingernails that they were painted red, but most of the flesh paint is coming off, so it looks like she's got bits of red all over the place, like she's cut her hands in a lot of places. It's kind of cool. Now, she did come with this staff. Oh man, there's a term for it. It's a metal iron shod staff, but this one actually has blades on it. So this is actually a type of pole arm. And then she came with two swords like this. I have lost my other sword, but I do still have the one. And they both went right into this backpack and would fit right down in there. The sword group. And so you'd have to just slide it right in there and get it in there correctly, which I'm not doing, of course. All right, so, and that was what Jinx came with accessory-wise. Now, this is an original O-ring figure, so it was back in the day. Mine has a damaged crotch piece, but that happened a lot. I played with this figure a lot, but she had these little slipper on her feet. I like that. I always did. This particular character, I always loved her mask. And they had red ninjas in Cobra, and I always thought it was weird that she had a red outfit, but she always looked really good. And I really, really like this character. As far as the female Joes, she's my favorite. I do like all the others. Don't get me wrong. I missing a sword, but I ended up with an extra staff. I don't know why. My brother probably had one, so there it is. I have two of those. Now, they didn't have any other Jinx figures in the original vintage line. However, when they came out again in the early 2000s, in 2004, they came out with a few. They came in 2003. They came out with a Tiger Force Jinx, but I'm pretty sure that was part of a convention exclusive. Now, she was like green with orange tiger stripes. Really cool looking figure. Same one though. It was just a repaint of this, as far as I know. That's what it looks like. I've only seen images of it, but yeah, it would be a cool figure to have. But in 2004, they came out with this Valor versus Venom Jinx. Now, she had two swords, one sheath. It was kind of weird. She had two swords, one sheath. And I've misplaced those. I have so many accessories put in an accessories bin that I couldn't find it. Now, this is the type of gun she had, but hers is supposed to be like a grayish, according to Yojo.com. Although, I don't have another gun this color, so I'm pretty sure she came with this black one. But this design is kind of petite, even compared to the other 3 3/4 inch figures. I mean, let me put them side by side, and you can see what I mean. Very, very dainty. She came with a blindfold too, but I went and Frankenstein a figure for my 25th anniversary line, and I have misplaced her blindfold because I used it for that. So she had a red blindfold that would actually you could put over her eyes like she did in G.I. Joe the movie, the animated movie, which was really cool. Oh, she also came with one of those gauntlets, is what they call them, and these were their G.I. Joe secure communications, which was pretty cool. That was an interesting idea. I ended up with about 30 of those, but you know, it is what it is. Now they have the Joe Pros on the classified, which I really like. Now they came out with those were the only three vintage, technically vintage Joes in the O-ring style, I should say, that they came out with. The Tiger Force one, this and these two. They came out with like 4 in the 25th anniversary line. I only have the one that came out for the Retaliation, G.I. Joe Retaliation movie, and it's pretty cool. I like the yellow and black. I mean, I wish I had one that was all black, but they never made a Jinx that was all black. And I'll tell you why I wish I had one in black when we get into talking about the character and stuff. But now if I can get this back on the battle stand, that would be wonderful. Her staff is the same, but it's a bit longer, bigger, as you can see. But it's the same style, and it's black. I like the fact that it was black. That's pretty cool. And she came with these 2 swords, both katanas, and it's one little backpack with both sheaths attached together. They like to do that, and that was a cool idea. I like that. So she has 2 katanas. Now, I put the Jinx label on her battle stand that she came with. It's sort of like a dog tag. They had that idea going on with the Rise of Cobra figures, but they didn't really continue it. And for a while, they didn't even come with battle stands. And like the classified, they don't come with battle stands at all. Now, this particular figure also came with a couple of axes that they snap together. There's a little peg on each one where you can snap them together like that, and she can actually fight like she has 2 blades. It's kind of cool. And so there you go. And she also came with this little key device that you could put around her hand, and she could grip it through there. Now, she couldn't grip this handle unless she did it this way, which is what it looks like you're supposed to do, but you're not, because this part right here actually fits into this. Now, it was not really a backpack. It's kind of like just a case that she came with that she could go around. And the idea was that this was the key that unlocks this. Now, what this does, if I can do this right, but I'm not going to do this with this because you don't need to. All you have to do is push it down, and this pops open. And inside, she has a bunch of weapons. She's got some sai in there. She's got some hooks and some. But I thought there would be sickles and stuff in there. But the other thing is this thing right here pops up, and there's like a rappelling line that comes out, and there's a zip cord on it that's really cool. And this thing pops out, and you can actually have her zip line around. And this just rolls right back up on there, as you can see, zip, which would be really cool. For a toy in the the early 2000s, 2012, 2013 is when this figure came out. For the Retaliation movie, like I said, this was a pretty interesting idea, but my problem with it is it just doesn't wind up very well, and you have to really work at it to get it wound back up. And once you get it going, it's okay, but then you have to make sure it's tight and put this back in here. For kids, great idea, but for an adult collector, it's kind of like, okay, that's fine, that's fun. But I like the zip line part, and I do like the fact that all these little accessories can pop out of there, but I'm not going to do that because my big old hands might break something. But then it just closes back up, and you just make sure everything's put together back there, and you snap it back into place. And she's got a little case here. And like I said, the key is supposed to pop in there and push everything open, and it does, but you don't need it. You just have to push. You just have to push this down, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. It would have been cooler if you had to use the key to open it up, but you know, I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad you don't, because then it makes it easier for me to pop it open and show you. All right, now that's going to take us to the current classified figure. Now in the modern line, they did not have a Jinx that came out with the regular release figures. They were all like exclusives and collectors club and things like that. Like I said, there were 3 others, and they had a red one and a white one, and you know but none of them were black like they should have been. I mean, I don't understand why. I like the fact that she's got a red outfit. It makes her stand out. But yeah, she came in a box like this. She is number 124 in the line. And there, you can scan that if you want. I don't know how those work very well. Then you got the back of the box showing off some of the things that she comes with. And I will show you all that stuff. She did not come with one of those batons back there, which the new Super 7 does. That's coming out. The Joe Fest. If you've seen any of the images from that, it looks pretty cool. But I love the artwork on the side of this box. Very cool. Inspired me to do a lot of cool stuff. And if you watch that video at the beginning on Joe Takes, I featured this a lot in that. Okay, so that's going to take us to the classified figure. Now, this is an impressive update. Now, if you take it and look at the original, I mean, it's a pretty spot on transfer over, except they instead of having her feet open at the bottom like this, they have her feet covered with proper foot gear, which is a good thing. And then she's not wearing sleeves on the classified, as you can see. She does have that original dragon symbol on her chest, which is awesome. But then she also has these badass tats, which I really enjoy. Now, she does have a sword, which all your Ashikage got a sword once they, you know, that's kind of the deal. You get a sword when you graduate, and she's one of the royalty, as it were, in this particular ninja clan. So naturally, she got a very fine katana. And oh yeah, on that what I wanted to show you is on this modern figure from the Retaliation line. If you take off the backpack, she has an Arashikage symbol on her back. I thought that was interesting. Oh, and she's got like, yeah, the articulation there in the center. I thought this was a really cool figure. Oh, I dropped that. But you know, some of the articulation on the 25th anniversary modern line wasn't all that great. The hands did not grip very well on this figure. So there were certain aspects that I didn't care for. But let's get back into this classified figure, which is incredible. This is also the star of my current G.I. Joe Lady Bloodright movie that I'm making. And I have a part that I will show you at the end of this episode that features Jinx. Basically, I have the preamble that you can watch on Logan's Overwatch #1. You can watch it on Joe Takes 60 with Vipra. And on the From the Hilt, you can watch it on the 1,000 subscriber special. So check that out. Now, you can still watch the first part of this on Logan's Overwatch 2, which we did last week. We had both my co-hosts had issues last week, and so it was just me and the tiger, which was kind of fun, and I enjoyed talking to the tiger. Now, she's got this headband here that she's supposed to use as a blindfold. But for me, it works so much better as a headband. But there you go. You're supposed to be able to, because she's supposed to be a blind master. She can fight blind. But, you know, and she's supposed to be able to fight better blind according to the movie, which I thought was interesting. Now, as you'll see tonight, she gets this in a unique way in my movie. So, and unlike other classified figures, Jinx actually has a butt. we have Joe Butt for the Tigers, so we got to have Joe Butt for the guys. So she Baroness doesn't have a butt. I mean, a lot of these newer female figures just don't for some reason sculpt the butt, and Jinx has a butt, which I like. I love the little tassels on her belt and the little sash she's got going on there. And that's Jinx. Now I'm going to show you some of the other features that she came with. I'm going to pop the head off here real quick. We got somebody in the comments. How's it going tonight? We've got the Mandalorian fan channel. Well, welcome, Mandalorian fan channel. Are you getting the Battle Armor Cobra Commander classified figure? I thought it looks cool. Yes, I do intend to get that. That was one of the better Cobra Commanders they put out. Of course, my favorite was the hooded Cobra Commander, and then the helmeted Cobra Commander. You got to have both of those. But the Battle Armor Cobra Commander is incredible. It's like the file card for that is awesome. It's like it costs about as much as a jet fighter to make that armor, and so that's why they only have one or two, because he had two in the comic book. So, but yeah, I do intend to get that armored classified figure. Now let me pop on this. Like I said, she has this necklace that she comes with, and you got to be careful to keep it on there. It's like from the G.I. Joe the movie. The animated movie. She had a necklace there. You snap it on, and then she's got her red mask. And I like, they show, instead of like on the original it was all red, but that's the way they translated that because of the way they had to make figures back then. But now she's got, she only has the mask over her head, and you can see her neck. And I love the fact that they show her bare arms with the sleeves and the tat. I love the tattoo. That's pretty good. It's pretty cool. Now you can see it better, the tattoo better on the box, unfortunately. So on my On Joe takes, you can see it really well. I got a pretty good close up of it, but that's the tattoo. But I love this character, Jinx. She's awesome. And this staff is badass. Now, if you take the blindfold on this, it looks better on this, but then she's got these tassels already on here, which is awesome. You keep having hoping someday Hasbro makes the cyborg blue ninjas from. I hope so too, dude. That was a cool storyline in the comic book. The cyber blue ninjas, they were awesome. I'm not going to pop her hands in and out, but she also comes with fighting fists that you can swap in and out for her regular gripping hands and with trigger fingers, so she can actually use a gun still. And which, like I said, one of the Jinx figures came with a gun. So, but that's the G.I. Joe classified Jinx. I'll probably take a look at it again before the end of Joe Takes here tonight. But that's going to take us to who Jinx is as a character. Now, I could sit here and read the file card, but I find that to be a little boring. So I've put together a file card video for you that basically reads the file card for us. So here is Jinx file card, FTH from the hilt, codename Jinx. And this is my updated version, so it's got some pretty cool new stuff in it.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained special mission force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world. Yo, Joe. Code name, Jinx, Arashikage Ninja. File name, Kimi Arashikage. Grade, E5. Sergeant U.S. Army, birthplace Los Angeles, California. Primary specialty, intelligence. Secondary specialty, finance clerk. Qualified expert, M14, M16, M1911, A1. Graduated Bryn Mawr. Jinx studied and competed in 3 forms of martial arts from the time she was 7 until she graduated from Bryn Mawr. Upon arriving in Japan for a vacation, she discovered that her family had been ninjas for generations, and she was officially initiated into the Arashikage clan and trained as a kunoichi by the blind master. Eventually Snake Eyes took her as an apprentice and convinced her to bring her skills to the G.I. Joe team, where she earned the nickname Jinx after putting the whammy on Cobra. To compensate for her diminutive stature, she also excels in infiltration and covert ops. She can bypass enemy listening posts, slip through their outer perimeter wire, worm her way past the sentries avoid the infrared sensors, penetrate their command bunker, capture digital imagery of battle plans, and escape without ever being detected from General Hawk's file. Don't underestimate Jinx. She has been to the secret mountain and studied the 7 silent forms with the blind master. She has the eye that pierces, the iron hand, and the heart that waits. In her own words, I can see through the enemy's deception, batter aside their strongest defenses, and overpower them with the strength of my will.
The keenest eye is that which looks inward.
Was her file card, which I took some liberties with and added some stuff to, but so it wasn't word for word from the file card, but you can pause that file card moment and read the file card if you want. But you can find that file card on yojo.com and a lot of different places, so check that out if you want to. So as far as the comic book is concerned, Jinx first appeared in G.I. Joe 59, which I've got set up right here. I do have the entire Marvel Comics run, but not in the original. I have most of the original comics. I think I'm missing like 15 or 16, but I do have the hardback books now. You take it easy, Mandalorian fan. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Now, this also was the first appearance of a bunch of characters like Raptor, the Armored Cobra Commander was in here. Outback and Tunnel Rat. Now, it might not necessarily have been the first appearance of all these characters, but it was Tunnel Rat and Outback, and that's why they're featured heavily on this cover. And the Cobra Pogo was in here, and the Slam, this is a really awesome cover. It just doesn't feature Jinx, but it was the first issue that she was in, so I'm not surprised that it didn't. Now, this here is Special Missions 24, where the G.I. Joe ladies, Cover Girl, Jinx, Scarlet, and Lady J went undercover. And Cobra was trying to mind control the president at the time. And this particular issue of Special Missions, I'm pretty sure is the only one not written by Larry Hama. I'm pretty sure it was written by Herb Trimpe, or Herb Trimp, however you want to pronounce it, the original artist from G.I. Joe #1. Yeah. And he wrote also G.I. Joe #8. So there they are right there. All 4 of the ladies, if I can go the right direction and show you. So yeah, you've got Lady J. You got Lady J, Scarlet, Jinx, and Cover Girl all there together. And yeah, Hawk had them going undercover as like cheerleaders. And none of them were happy about that. But it was a pretty cool issue. And it turned out that Hawk was right. And they needed to be right where they were, because they saved the day. That's some really cool stuff with this one. Now, Special Missions, like I think it was 11, featured Jinx as well. It was pretty cool. But they like to pair the ladies up a lot, and I like that. Now, before I show some of these other ones, I'm going to look at some covers and show you some covers, because I love G.I. Joe covers. So there's that issue 59. If you want a better look at it, I found a really decent scan of it that somebody did. And before I can continue, and then the Special Missions 24, way better looking cover. So you can get a good look at it. Now, the next story actually starts here. This is G.I. Joe 21, and this is Silent Interlude. Now, Silent Interlude is the very first silent comic, as far as I know, where it just has special effects, no dialogue whatsoever, and that's what they mean by silent comic. Nobody speaks in the comic. No thought bubbles, none of that. It's just all action and sound effects. Pow, pew, pew, and things of that nature. Pew, pew. But yeah, this was, but it continued basically that kind of feel into GI Joe 85, which stars Storm Shadow. However, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I have that issue, and on the first page you got Jinx, and it's SFX is the name of the issue, and it's all, like I said, it's just all silent dialogue. I do have GI Joe 21, but not the original anymore. I sold my original copy. I wish I hadn't, but I did. But I've got some from comic figure packs. So yeah, so Jinx is prominently featured in this issue. If I go the right way again, and she gets attacked by some Cobra ninjas being led by Zartan, who was trying to prevent Storm Shadow from killing him because Storm Shadow had figured out that Zartan had killed the Hard Master. But he was ordered to do it by Cobra, and Storm Shadow had decided that vengeance wasn't the proper path and was actually trying to, turn over a new leaf. And he actually was about to join GI Joe. In fact, by this point, I think he already had joined GI Joe. But like I said, there's no dialogue boxes in here, and this is all just effects, all just sound effects, like the phone ringing and all that. And I'm making a point of this because the part of my GI Joe movie that I'm going to show tonight is called Silent Observance, and it's my tribute to Larry Hama and his silent comics. It has no dialogue. It has music at the beginning and music at the end, and music all throughout, but it also only has sound effects throughout the entire storyline that I'm going to present tonight. So that's where this comes from. This is I should have got up one of my silent interludes, but as you can see, like I said, it started here, and this was a story where Storm Shadow kidnapped Scarlet, and then Snake Eyes went to rescue her, but she ended up rescuing herself, and they broke out together, and it was Storm Shadow's first appearance, and it was a really cool storyline. And at the end, they revealed that Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow were from the same ninja clan, for the first time ever revealing that Snake Eyes was, in fact, a ninja. He still was considered just the G.I. Joe Commando. Now, there is that, and then there is this. This is America's Elite, G.I. Joe 25 from, this was Devil's Due Publishing. Now, as you can see, it has every G.I. Joe on the cover. They have a Cobra version as well, but we're talking G.I. Joe tonight, and it's also in the center of the book. So it's like bookends. It's like flip it around. It's on both. However, Jinx is only right here, but she's in a black uniform, like I was talking about. And I'll show you why, because in Devil's Due, she had a black outfit. Now, here is that cover again. This scan wasn't very good, so I found a better one, and so there's that. And there she is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the left on on the right there. And you've got it looks like you've got Junkyard down there, and you got Order, which is awesome. I love the canines in G.I. Joe. Now, I have a few more comics I wanted to show you that I do not have. I do have one more that I'm going to show you, but let's check out this. This is something that they brought out in the Image when it was under Image, or either that or this is new, but I'm pretty sure based on the symbol that this is an older comic. It was G.I. Joe Silent Missions. The first issue starred Jinx. I don't know if they made more than just the one. I'm not sure. But I thought this was a really cool looking comic. And they had 2 variant covers. I like this one a lot. This was really cool. Jinx looked really nice in this. And the variant covers are interesting, but they just do it to make money, because these variant covers, they're rarer, and so they're more valuable than the regular release, like this one here. This was like, I still like cover price, but this is like $20. And I don't remember how much this was. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I really liked the black and white pencil art style of art. And it also it's a better looking cover in many ways. I really love this one. Now, recently, not that recently, but more recently, they had Jinx on the cover of one of the new G.I. Joe issues. Because Larry Hama continued his run after Marvel into what's known as the IDW, Ideas Workshop comics. And they were doing their own G.I. Joe stuff. But once Larry Hama came back, that's pretty much all they did after that. And he did his series. He started on 155 and a half or zero. And then from 156 on, he was at IDW for several issues and went all the way up to 300. And they also had like Silent Interlude, a 4-issue limited series, and they did a bunch of G.I. Joe Origins that Larry Hama wrote. Great stuff. I mean, really, really good. It was nice to have Larry Hama back at the helm writing G.I. Joe again. And but now he moved over to Skybound as of issue 301, which is an image comic. Skybound's like their production company there. I don't know how that works because I'm not really into modern comics as much as I was back in the 80s and the 90s. But this is a pretty cool cover, and this is issue 307. I don't own this one yet. I do want to acquire it. I have 301, 303, and 305. So I have the first one of the Skybound series, and I haven't got into the Energon series. And I think there's some covers with Jinx on in the Energon series, but that's not my thing. I've got a few of those. I got like Duke and Cobra Commander, and it's just I haven't been able to get into them. So, and they might be good stuff, but you know, I'm a Hamaverse guy, so that's what I have there. So I have one more comic I want to show you, and I have this one. But I'll show you the cover first, and I'll show you what I mean. This is a clean cover without anything on it. That's why I wanted to show it to you. And Jinx is wearing this awesome black ninja suit. Now, in this comic, this is for Devil's Due. When Devil's Due owned the license and rights to G.I. Joe there for a while. Larry Hama didn't write for Devil's Due. He did a series of Frontline for them, a 4-issue limited series, but they continued that series without him. I have the first 4 of Frontline, which is pretty cool. It was almost a continuation of from 155 on, just like he ended up doing for IDW, but he's disavowed that storyline. So I don't know if he counts it anymore or what, but G.I. Joe Frontline, the first 4 issues was pretty cool. And that was by, I'm pretty sure, Devil's Due or Image. I'd have to look because Image had it for a while, and then it went to Devil's Due for a long time. And they had America's Elite like this series here. This is issue 25 and America's Elite, and they had a few other ones, but this was Devil's Due. And the America's Elite concluded with the World War III storyline, which was really cool. But yeah, this was an awesome cover to have all the Joes up to that point that they'd ever had, plus ones that, you know, like Tycho from the cartoon. They had them all on there, so really cool to see that. But that takes us to Devil's Due Special Missions Brazil. Now, this comic, this is a monster. I mean, it's huge. Let me take it. I have a couple of them. If you haven't seen my For the Love of Comics Special Missions series, I just released the one on today. I issued volume 3 today. Volume 4 will come out next month. That covers these, and I just show the covers and talk about them a little bit. I haven't done any deep dives into the comics yet. I do intend to do that, starting with the original series, because, like I said, I have the hardbacks, and a buddy of mine gave me those, and I just to do him justice and honor, I do want to cover those and do a deep dive, and actually maybe even read them. I don't know if I can get away with that, but I think I can. We shall see. But Devil's Due had an interesting way of doing things, and they basically had a roster at the beginning, and they had 2 storylines that converged in this monster of a book, and the quality of these books was just beautiful. I mean, great art. Not all of the Devil's Due stuff was as good as these special missions that they put together. But it had 2 stories, 48 pages. But Gung Ho, Wild Bill, Clutch, and Rock and Roll were undercover doing something. They were infiltrating a Japanese firm. Hello, Daniel Evans. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. I agree with that statement. And I know where it comes from, but so thank you. I appreciate it. John 3:16. There you go. That was my wife, the tiger. So anyway, we're talking GI Joe here tonight. I'm sure God enjoys the fact that we enjoy our lives and our hobbies because He gave us our bodies. So here we go. This storyline involved Jinx and Budo, and they had a romantic relationship in The Devil's Due, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it was an interesting concept to have a samurai and a ninja in a relationship, and it was a lot of fun to read. So if you ever get a chance to read this digitally or get a copy of this, this is the 5-year anniversary one shot. It came out in, let me see if they have a date inside. Most of the time they do. Let's see. This is copyright. It was in the early 2000s, and no, they don't have a copyright date in here. I'm like, that's interesting. Most of them do, but those do. It has all the disclaimer information, but like I said, early 2000s, and that's good stuff. For what was going on with GI Joe at the time, this was it. It was all the GI Joe they had. It was before Larry Hama went to IDW and went back to writing his series, which is what brought me to the line. And the cartoon kind of brought me to the line, but Larry Hama kept me there, that's for sure. But yeah, there's the cover with G.I. Joe Special Missions on it, Tokyo. And like I said, it's 2 stories, 48 pages, nonstop action, and it really is. It's a really good storyline. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is not Larry Hama, for those of you who are into only the Hama-verse. I know I have a few Joe fans that are, but I love the genre, so I check out a lot of the other stuff. Now, that's going to take us to the animated movies and series, and she came in at the end of the Sunbow run, which they had 3 5-part miniseries. Which the third one was the beginning of the first season of G.I. Joe by Sunbow Comics, cartoon. Sunbow Animation basically was a Marvel production company, a Hasbro Marvel kind of a joint deal. And they did a lot of stuff, a lot of Hasbro products. They did like My Little Pony, Transformers, that sort of thing. Sunbow did a lot, but they culminated in My Little Pony movie. They were starting to do theatrical productions, and they did Transformers. And the problem with that was they killed off Optimus Prime in that, and it made it really difficult for them to sell G.I. Joe the movie, which they put a lot into. Good or bad, how you feel about it is up to you. I liked it. Jinx was a prominently featured character in it, and I love the way they portrayed her character. She is one of my like I said, she's my favorite female Joe, and this character is just awesome. And as my blind ninja master used to say, the keenest eye is that which looks inward. So yeah, if you have a chance and you haven't seen that, watch that. She was also in Valor versus Venom and G.I. Joe Renegades, which they did not make a G.I. Joe Renegades version of Jinx, and I wish they had, because she was featured in that quite often, and she was Snake Eyes' apprentice in that. And then she ended up going with Storm Shadow, and they were like Renegade and joining Cobra, and it was an interesting concept, the G.I. Joe Renegades. Well worth the watch. I wish they would have made more seasons of that. It was well done. It was kind of like G.I. Joe. If A-Team were G.I. Joe, that's kind of how the series was. But Valor vs. Venom was really cool. And it featured her. She was with Snake Eyes and Kamakura. They were both his apprentices. And she had a lot of fun making fun of Kamakura when he was trying to draw his sword from he was given this special sword and he couldn't draw it out unless he was worthy. It was kind of a cool thing. So it's worth it. It's worth checking out. A lot of cool action scenes in Valor vs. Venom. The music's good, and it's an underrated animated G.I. Joe film by Paramount. So then Paramount then went on to make G.I. Joe G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, and then G.I. Joe Retaliation, and now they've made the Snake Eyes Origins movie, which hit and miss. I mean, I like all the movies. I have my issues with all the movies, just like everybody else. But we enjoy our GI Joe. So let me put some music on while I'm chatting here, but I'm going to turn it down so I don't blur you out, and so you can still hear me. All right, let's put this on the right thing. Anyway, so that's basically her in media, in the comics. She was in a lot of issues. She was underutilized, I think, though, as a character, and I think that's a good reason about it. But when she was in it, whoever wrote it generally treated her with a lot of respect and did her character justice, as Larry Hama did. They did in G.I. Joe the movie. She is a very well defined character, but I think underutilized. So that's why I'm the star of my little movie that I'm making. So in my head canon and in my Joe-verse, Jinx is there is a Ninja Force, and she's on Ninja Force, which I think Hasbro missed the boat when they made Ninja Force and did not make their original Ninja, a G.I. Joe Ninja on the Ninja Force. But they did that a lot. They didn't make their Hazard Environment Trooper part of the Eco Warriors. They barbecue, which was kind of cool, but not airtight. A lot of times when they had that Night Force, they didn't make Lowlight a member of Night Force. He was their night spotter. I know he's a sniper, but I mean that's what he did. He did night ops. So many missed opportunities, and Mega Marines did not have all the Marines in it. There was Leatherneck, Gung Ho, and Sergeant Slaughter, and Mainframe was a Marine also. So they could have all four of those guys in the Mega Marines. They didn't do that, just Gung Ho, which Gung Ho was the leader. And I can see why they didn't have Sergeant Slaughter if they wanted Gung Ho to be the leader. Because Sergeant Slaughter would take over that role, and they wanted Gung Ho to be the leader, which was cool. And Sergeant Slaughter was kind of leaving the vintage line at that time, and now he's back with GI Joe and Hasbro, and so it is what it is. I really liked Gung Ho from the very first miniseries. He was like. I have fond memories of G.I. Joe and Gung Ho in particular. I didn't really care for Leatherneck as a Marine when he came out, but I have a better appreciation for him now that I've written a storyline for him in my movie. But Sergeant Slaughter, he was always cool. I liked him, but I didn't love him at first the way I liked Gung Ho. But that's just how it is. But we're talking Jinx, and for me, she's part of my G.I. Joe Alpha team. She's on Alpha 1. And with Lady J as the leader, the captain and leader of that team. Scarlet's on there, and Cover Girl, all the G.I. Joe ladies in Roadblock, and Mainframe, believe it or not. I don't know, that's who I picked out for that team. I thought it was pretty cool. They don't really have a Ninja Force in my head canon much anymore. The storyline I'm writing is kind of wrapping up a lot of stuff that Larry Hama did, because I started from a certain point in Larry Hama's verse, and I continued my storyline from there. Now, it's up to you where you place Jinx in your head canon, but for me, Sergeant is just a rank that they gave her. That's her pay grade. I mean, at this point, she's probably at least an E7 or an E8. She's been on the team for more than a decade. Even in my head canon, it's probably about 2 decades. So 20 years in, she's probably a master sergeant. But G.I. Joe really doesn't care about ranks like that in a lot of ways. Once you're a Joe, you're a Joe, and whoever is specialized in a certain thing will generally lead that team, regardless of rank sometimes. But yeah, they have their G.I. Joe leaders. You have Hawk, Duke Flint, Beachhead, Sergeant Slaughter. But the way I see all that, Jinx she's not one of those. She's not a leader type. She falls in on her Alpha 1 squad as just one of the squad members, right along with Cover Girl and Scarlet in that. But if Lady J got to put together her own team, that's who I'd have her pick, because she worked with Mainframe a lot. She's computers and covered ops. That's what she does. Jinx is intelligence, covered ops. Ninja, Scarlet, same intelligence, covered ops. They all kind of group in there. Now, CoverGirl, to me, is Lady J's best friend, so that's why she's on that team. Plus, she's their driver, and Roadblock's their platoon sergeant. Who doesn't want Roadblock on their team? If you got to pick your team and you didn't pick Roadblock, wouldn't you feel bad when you lost the football game? Now, Roadblock is just a cool show, but I when I was putting that team together, I was like, who would Lady J pick to be on her team? And those are her squad mates. Now, they have other teammates, but I haven't selected them out and fully filled out that roster just yet. I may have, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my list. But as far as I'm concerned, Jinx is Alpha 1. She's the premier. She's on the premier strike team for G.I. Joe, and or my military action group is what I like to call it now. Now that kind of takes us to where we're at right now with Jinx. She's my favorite female character. If I have a very big appreciation for her, as you'll see when I play her movie part tonight, Act 1, Scene 1 of G.I. Joe Lady Bloodright. There is a preamble, like I said. Check that out on the previous episode on Joe Takes 60 for Viper, and also on G.I. Joe Overwatch #1 and the 1,000 subscriber celebration on From the Hill. But I'm not going to have it anywhere else until I put it all together in one movie, which will premiere on From the Hill. And then back here, I'll have it on G.I. Joe Gamer channel at some point, because all my G.I. Joe stuff ends up here. So, that being said, I have played the file card. And so that's going to take us to my little movie here. I do have a music video for this song that plays at the end and the beginning. I have music videos for that. However, they're in the movie part, so I'm not going to play them again. If you want to see them, they are up on the G.I. Joe Gamer channel and on From the Hill. So please check those out. I'll play this the movie part, and then we'll come back, talk a little bit, and then I'll sign off for the night. All right, but I'll start you off with this here.
Hilt fan play motion. You will see hands. Figures are plastic, but the voices are real. It's from the Hilt. Let's play.
Let's play. And here is, if I can get to the right file, movie clips. Act 1, Scene 1, G.I. Joe Lady Bloodright. So I hope you enjoy. Let me get this other music off here. I'll play it as a movie.
Twist like lies. She was raised on gator blood and fireflies. Folks say kin from Lafitte clad both ways. Some wore medals, she chose blade. Came up mean, came up fast, drove like a banshee, never looked back. No stars, no stripes, no kin, she claimed. Just a shadowed voice that whispered her name. They call her Vipra, but one voice says Layla. Silk on her hips, steel in her stride. Cobra's own ghost with a crimson night guide. No oaths to break, no truth to kneel. She's the bite in the dark, swamp, silk and steel. They say one uncle wore on her like war paint, but she saw weakness, she learned restraint. Joined the fangs just to spite the Lafitte name, then found her fire in Cobra's flame. Layla, my blade, my shadow, striking out for glory, striking for command. you're swallowed whole by swamp, silk, and steel. Layla, Vibra, swamp, silk, and steel.
Oh, it's the boss man calling again. Get to work, boy, where you been?
I walked through shadows, names carved in stone, Echoes of brothers who lie under stone, a whisper of duty, a breath held in pain, their ghost in the silence calling my name. I am the eye that sees through lies, the iron hand beneath the sky, the heart that waits, the will that bends, but never breaks and never ends. They took my ninja brethren, leaving nothing but my wrath, the blood and bone of the ninja's path. From Melee's fire to Arashikage's flame, I was born with silence carved in my name. Red blades in mourning, blue steel tears, a life of service, a soul with no fear. Kamakura, nunchuck, quick kick, gone. Two are my brothers, one my bond. They stood with me, now I stand for them. No signal out, no help to send. Just a blade, a vow, and a mission to end. I am the eye that sees through lies, the iron hand beneath the sky, the heart that waits, the will that bends, but never breaks and never ends. They took my ninja brethren, leaving nothing but my wrath, the blood and bone of the ninja's path. 7 silent forms and 9 signs, I keep them near. The keenest eye is that which looks inward clear. The fight never ends, and I am ready. I am Kimi, the 10th letter, future of the Arashikage. Not Storm Shadow, not Snake Eyes, just a Jinx.
And that was Act 1, Scene 1. Now, what you saw there is really just the raw footage. There are some tweaks I'm going to make to it. Like I'm probably going to animate the background in the car so it looks like she's driving. Like I said, if you watch the one we played last week on Logan's Overwatch 2, yeah, I made some tweaks to that as well. So, you know, that's where we're at with that. Yeah, so I can get the music back on. I'll chat a little bit. Next up on Joe Takes next in a week, because we're gonna have one every week all summer long for the next 10 weeks actually, or 9 weeks. 9 weeks. There's like 9 more weeks. There's 10 parts altogether. Besides the preamble and the finale. The finale will be on an episode of Logan's Overwatch. But each Joe Take will contain a little video like that for each character as they enter the storyline. Next week is Shadow Tracker. I'll be doing Joe Take on him, which there's not much information on Shadow Tracker, so it might be a pretty short episode. However, I'll look for some stuff and see what I can find on Shadow Tracker. I do have the classified figure. I do not have the original. The Pursuit of Cobra figure that came out in 2010, 2011. That was something I wanted to get, but that one you could not find anywhere. I didn't order online yet at that point, so I was just relying on finding stuff in the stores. And I got most of the Pursuit of Cobra line, but definitely not Shadow Tracker. I never saw him in the store. If I had seen him, I'd have bought him. But that's where we're at. So yes, next week, Joe Takes 62 will be Shadow Tracker. I will have Act 1, Scene 2, Predator in the Pines, and I've already shot that, and it's pretty much ready to go. There are some tweaks I'll probably make to it between now and then. I've already tweaked it a few times, but I'm going to try to get a scene filmed every week, and I'll try to be ahead like I am right now, and so we'll be ready to go. At that, when I've got it all together, when I got it all done, I will put it all together and edit the crap out of it and put it into a feature-length movie and have some fun with it. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, and I hope you enjoyed my take on Jinx, because that's my take on Jinx. And on that note, Logan out, my friends.
Logan's room full of Joe take dreams. Crimson Guard with eyes on the team. Snake Eyes silent and mean, but tough to rile. Roadblock rhymes and cooks with style. Duke as the first shirt, making with a plan. Cobra Commander schemes with his clan. Scarlet Sharp hits hard, flips fast. Destro's armor gleams from the past. Logan's G.I. Joe takes fierce and honest view. Red versus blue, it's up to you. Stay a while and listen for the consumerism. Logan's G.I. Joe's takes given with enthusiasm. Zartan shifting sneaks in disguise. Storm Shadow's blade cut through lies. Baron is cold with her deadly aim. Shipwreck laughs, wins the game. Doc's healing hand in the fray. Flint's shotgun clears the way. Major Blood's battle cry echoes near. General Hawk leads, we cheer. From the hilt on YouTube, tune in for a day. Joe takes to help you with your play. Let's put these characters to the test. Logan's the G.I. Joe gamer, plays it best. Yo, Joe, Cobra, let's go. Let's go. Logan's G.I. Joe takes fierce and honest view. Red versus blue, it's